Welcome into the Captain's Log. I am your host, Brandon, aka the Captain. Thought I'd switch it up on you guys a little bit, maybe add a different flair to the show. I'm gonna have a little multimedia going on. Gonna try to share my screen for you guys, make the show a little more highbrow, okay, a little more podcasty, if you will. Okay, you know me. Like I said, this is the Captain's Log. We're talking about Super Draft and the roster. So, hey, without further ado, what do we talk about on here?
Memphis, 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 Memphis. Nothing but Memphis.
That's right. Nothing but Memphis Showboats right here on the Captain's Log. Hey, let's jump right into it, guys. I hope you like that little intro there. Like I said, let's try to switch it up for you guys, get a little more podcasty up in here. But anyway, we are a few days removed from the Super Draft that happened this past week on Monday. The Showboats used every single pick in every single round. So we'll get to that in a minute here. But first, I just want to let you guys know if you need any Yacht Club merch, guys, if you're not in the Facebook Yacht Club, go join the Facebook Yacht Club. I got this website right here on the ticker, vintagevarsity901.com. That's where you're going to get sweet Yacht Club merch. We got a giveaway going on over there from Bill Alexander, the true captain of the Yacht Club. Okay, I may have the videos and the Twitter page, but the real captain of the Yacht Club is Bill Alexander out there, Memphis, boots on the ground, selling all kinds of Yacht Club merch. Absolutely love this man. So make sure we check them out. Like I said, we got a giveaway going on over there. Real easy to enter. You can win one of 3 awesome Yacht Club prizes. So just wanted to shout out my guy Bill right there. And let's talk about this Super Draft, right? So let's see if we can do this bad boy. Yeah. Here we go, folks. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Here we go. So can we add it to the stage? Yes, we can. Look at that, guys. Look at that. So, Super Draft results are right here. Like I said, we took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 picks. So, we took every last pick in every round we could. I love how we started it off right here. Big center, Jared Thomas from the Sea Dragons. We cut Matt Burrell. He wasn't protected in the initial round of protections for the team. So our current centers right now are Jared Thomas, who I assume will be the starter, and his backup will be Jordan McRae. Another thing to note, we've got the whole Breakers specialist crew now. We got Matt White, the punter. We've got Matt Coughlin, the kicker, and we've got their long snapper, Turner Bernard. Now, this is pretty cool, pretty interesting. We already have Alex Kessman and Brandon Wright on the team already. So if I could pull this guy up for you real quick and check this out. Boom, we got a little bit of a depth chart. Let me see. Boom, look at that bad boy. So this is what the depth chart looks like. It's a very, very, very rough draft. Okay, I just kind of threw it together with the information I had. A lot of new players that I've never seen play before, and I haven't had time to go and watch, exactly what position they play, what position they might be playing in R3-4 defense. So, but I wanted to touch on, since we were talking about the specialists, right here we've got Alex Kessman and Brandon Wright. Okay, both of those two are still on the team. They were protected in the first wave of the super drafts, the draft, dispersal draft, whatever. Pretty interesting here. I mean, Brandon Wright had a pretty good season last year. I got the stats right here for you guys. I got to think if Coach Flip brought in his whole specialist crew, from the long snapper, kicker, punter, I mean, the whole crew, that those are going to be his guys. Okay. But Coach Flip, he's been on the Memphis media tours. He's been saying it countless time and time again. No job in here is going to be given. Every job is going to be earned. So it seems like we will have a kicking and a punting battle in camp. Or what I'm thinking is Kessman and Brandon Wright, unfortunately, might be released before camp to bring in some more different camp bodies to compete. I think Flip knows what he has. He knows what he has in his specialist group. He knows those guys performed well. Like I said, I got the stats right here for you. So when we talk about kickers, when it comes to Alex Kessman, our kicker, he had one touchback and 76. Yeah, he had one touchback in the kickoff game. Matt Coughlin had 3 touchbacks. Now, the new league is going to use the USFL kickoff rules, and those rules pretty much allow the receiving team to basically, if the receiving team's returner makes one guy miss, they're probably going to start around the 40 in plus territory. They're going to get to midfield about the 50-yard line at least if you've got a speedy returner that can make at least one guy miss. So pretty big to have Matt Coughlin. Couple more touchbacks on his leg. So hopefully he can just knock that bad boy right out the back of the end zone, set these guys up on touchbacks, stuff like that, make them go the long, hard way. Pause. And other stats we got from Kessman and Coughlin. So Kessman played in one less game than Matthew Coughlin did. I think most of us remember Alex Kessman was struggling at the beginning of the year. He was benched, and Brandon Wright came in for one game, handling field goal duties, kickoff duties, punting duties, all the duties. And I'm a child. I know. I'm sorry. So Alex Kessman had 76 points on the season with one less game than Matt Coughlin, who had 79 points on the season. So pretty much the same points right there for the year for both of the guys. Matt Coughlin had the benefit of being on a team with a much more productive offense, much more moving offense than we do. So he was able to kick more extra points than field goals. A lot of times the boats counted on those field goals from Alex Kessman to win us a few games. Matt Coughlin didn't have that type of pressure, but he still had plenty of pressure, still had plenty of games come down to his leg, making a kick through the upright and getting a dub for his team. So talking about that, Alex Kessman has he went 88% on field goals with a long of 54, whereas Matt Coughlin went 95% on field goals with a long of 55. So Matt actually only missed one field goal all season. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I think he kicked about 20 field goals, missed one. I didn't write down where the miss was. That's on me. But he made one from 55. So I assume maybe a 50-yarder that may have caught some wind that he missed, but whatever. When it comes to extra points, Matt Coughlin missed 0 extra points. Alex Kessman struggled. He missed 3 extra points. 76.9% extra point thing for all the fancy numbers out there. So, I mean, it just feels like I said, Flip knows these guys. He knows his specialist group. He knows that he can just kind of let them go. He doesn't have to worry about them. He doesn't have to micromanage them, anything like that. I feel like that'll be ultimately the deciding factor. Now, Brandon Wright, when it comes to Brandon Wright versus Matthew White, our new punter, Brandon Wright actually has kind of the stats on Matthew. Brandon Wright had a 45.5 yard average, whereas Matthew White had a 44.9 average. Matthew White punted for more yards with 1,347, whereas Brandon Wright punted for 1,228. Punting is also difficult to kind of judge because you don't know exactly what the team is wanting their punter to do. I know my boy Webb, he talked to Matt Mangle back when he was the Maulers guy, and Matt Mangle made the point that, like, hey, there are times I can go out there and I can go pin this team back. I can get my punt numbers looking good, my net average numbers looking good. But sometimes I got to take one for the team and just kick it how my coach wants me to kick it and where he wants me to kick it. So we don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes when these specialists are going out there on the field, what they're being told. All we can go off of is the stats. So a couple more stats. Brandon Wright had a 76-yard long punt. Pretty good. I think that was second or third longest in the USFL last year, whereas Matthew White had a 68-yard long. When it comes to net average, Brandon Wright had 35.6 yards net average, and Matthew White had 38.7 yard average. So kind of splitting hairs when it comes to the punting game with Brandon Wright and Matthew White. Brandon Wright was all USFL back in 2022 when he was with the Bandits, before the Bandits became the Showboats. So interesting little tidbit there for that stuff to happen. And let me see here if we go back to this roster page right quick. One thing that I wanted to mention is actually, let's go back to the tweet. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter, guys. I got you covered. As soon as a Memphis Showboat free agent signing coming, as soon as anything Memphis Showboat comes, your boy's all over it. If I didn't break it, I'm finding the person that broke it and immediately bringing it to you guys. So check your boy out. Go give me a follow on the old X machine, Twitter machine, whatever you want to call it. But pulling this list back up. Funny thing about the picks. So we made a total of 34 picks when it comes to the divisional, conferential, whatever, when it came to the dispersal drafts. So the first dispersal drafts, not every team took all 20 picks. Showboats took all 20 picks. When it came to this super draft, apparently there was 14 rounds. The Showboats, only team to go all 14 rounds. So we have made a total of 34 draft picks between the two drafts. And fun fact that you could probably never imagine, when our coach was coaching for the New Orleans Breakers last season, he actually brought over 16 of his own guys from the Breakers. 16 out of 34, that's about half of his picks all came from his former team. Obviously makes sense. He's already got chemistry with these guys. He already knows them. I could have bumped it up to 17 out of 34 to get that true 50 if we wanted to count Vinny Papali, which was cool because it seemed like Flip had already respected Papali's game from afar, because Coach Flip had signed Papali to the Breakers before we knew that the Breakers were not going to be a part of the new league. So it feels like Flip's got some plans in mind for old Vinny Papali. So one other thing I want to look at real quick is the USFLPA. This is the one-stop shop on Twitter for any Players Association union stuff that goes on. And they actually dropped the pay scale for the upcoming season. Now, the active salary here only went up $150 per week. You know, a lot of guys, it's a kind of hit and miss. You know, you're not going to please everybody with these things. Some guys hate it. Some guys are just thankful for the opportunity. You know, it is what it is. Obviously, when you take the fact that we had a 8-team USFL and an 8-team XFL, combined them, still only had 8 teams come out of that. Okay, so somehow 8 plus 8 equals 8. I don't know. Quick, fun merger math, I guess. You would think, like I would have thought, we could afford to pay these players a little bit more, you know, at least get it up to a nice even 6,000 a week, I would say. You know, there is no longer competition besides the CFL at this point. You know, the USFL and XFL merged and basically took away any leverage that some of these guys had. The only leverage they have now is to threaten to go up north and play in Canada. And we're seeing that a lot now. We're seeing a lot of the USFL and XFL guys that did not get picked up make their way across the border. And hey, more power to them. Go get your money, man. You can only play this game for so long. You know, it's a king's ransom for a kid's game, but not when you're playing spring ball. You know, it's a regular basic fee. You know, I mean, it's good money. It's good money for 10, possibly 12 weeks of work. But one thing I wanted to point out here is that everything does go up, though. So, I mean, you can see the PA, they're trying their best after year. They're trying to get another thing, cross another bridge, do another hurdle to get the players a little more than what they have now. And I mean, that's really all you can ask for these guys, man. They're doing their best. They're trying their best. And one of the coolest things I wanted to get to right here is where'd it go? Is it not there? Here we go. Player accolade bonus. So check this out. This is pretty cool right here. I like this a lot. Player of the week, $1,000. Make the all UFL team, $2,500. Player of the year, $5,000. MVP, $7,500. So that's pretty cool right there, man. I love it's going to be interesting to see how they do the player of the week things, because it was Twitter polls, and personally, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can have a Twitter poll decide who's going to make an extra $1,000 this week. personally. They did it strictly off fan voting. So some teams just have more fans. Like the Showboats were one of the youngest teams in the league. We just came onto the scene last year after a 40+ year hiatus from the 80s and the original USFL. So teams like the Showboats, teams like maybe the Panthers, not the Panthers, who else? Maybe the Roughnecks, the Brahmas, those teams that don't have as many fans, at least online. They got fans that show up to the game, but maybe they don't have as many fans online. Can't leave it up to the fans to be deciding who gets money like this, because we saw it last year. There could be a Birmingham Stallions player and then literally any other player. If any other player had a better week than the Stallions player, it did not matter. The Stallions player was going to win the player of the week because they just had more fans, and that's just the way it went. So it is what it is, man. But I thought that was pretty cool that they are the PA's always trying to get more things popping off. So we've talked about the picks, we've talked about the pay, talked about the super draft picks. We've talked about the Facebook Yacht Club, and let's get to the last thing here. Just want to look at the depth chart real quick for you guys, give you guys a nice little look at it. I'll probably be posting it on Twitter at some point. Right now, we've got 4 quarterbacks on the roster: Case Cookus and Cole Kelly, with Ryan Willis and Guy Myers in the back. Ryan Willis was with the team last year. Guy Myers has kind of been on and off of USFL teams the past 2 seasons. Kind of sucks, man. His brother was also on the Showboats, Guy and DJ. 2 guys that really just have not been able to get that chance, man. For whatever reason, they haven't really been able to show their skills and show what they're made of. But we've got Case Cookus and Cole Kelly battling for that QB1 spot in camp. That should be an awesome battle. Can't wait to see who comes out on top. Obviously, we all have our who we would assume would come out on top. But you never know, man. You never know. Running back room, pretty excited about this. Darius Victor and Kennedy Brooks, with Kareth White returning from last year. Darius Victor is going to be a tone setter on that offense. He gets to run behind a new and improved line that features 2 breakers guards in Kirk Kelly and Salisi Uatafe, also known as Lika Uhatafe. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, my friend. New center Jared Thomas, new tackle Terry Poole. We brought back Darren Paolo, who was a Tampa Bay Bandit back in year 1, who actually got a shot with the Detroit Lions. Stuck around on their practice squad for a good bit, so it seems like I don't think we got to see him in the USFL actually take some snaps, but if he was good enough for the Lions, good enough to be on their practice squad, not good enough to stick around, but offensive linemen are tough to come by. You desperately, desperately need them, and you desperately need depth at that position. So right now we've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got about 10 offensive linemen, so that's nice. Good depth. But this starting line, I believe, is going to be really good for Darius Victor to run behind. We got Jerron Jones. He's been all USFL the past 2 years. Kirk Kelly helped block for Kirk Kelly and Salisi Uhatafe. Both helped block for the record-setting season that Wes Hills had. Jared Thomas over at the Sea Dragons. I'm going to be honest, I don't know a lot about him. I did not watch the XFL that much. I know Terry Poole was all USFL at one point, I believe, back in season 1. Excited about this one right here, Sidney Wells. Now, Sidney was a guy that was drafted in the first dispersal draft. He was a guy that was signed by the Breakers in the offseason, so cool to see. He's out of UAB, Alabama, Birmingham Blazers. Interesting to see him. Obviously, he has enough talent or film that Coach Flip said, hey, I signed this guy in the offseason. I want him to make the transition with me and see what he's got and bring him into camp. So pretty cool right there. Talk about the tight ends. We've got 5 tight ends on the roster right now, maybe 6, because wide receiver D. Anderson was also considered a tight end at times for the Breakers, kind of a big body dude. But tight end 1, gotta imagine it's Sage Surratt. Tight end 2, I'd like to see J.J. Wilson, man. J.J. Wilson was a utility player for us, great special teamer, played fullback, tight end, blocking fullback, got some good hands. Dude's just a player, an absolute player. Love to see it. Michael Izaike is a draft pick that we have not seen play yet. Wes Saxton Jr. was with the Generals, and John Mitchell was on the squad last year, made a few clutch catches for us. The wide receiver room is absolutely loaded. We've got big play Jonathan J. Adams, Derek Dillon, Vinny Papali, DeAndre Overton, Case Cook is favorite right there. Him and Case had an amazing connection back in Philly with the Stars. We got TD Lee Morris, another Breakers wide receiver. And then this back half of receivers, man, I'm kind of excited to see who cracks that wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 position, because we got Ryan McDaniel, who I felt like needed a lot more play time last year. He made that ridiculous circus catch for us against the Gamblers. Play of the year recognition for that. Dawood Davis was a guy that looked very good in the Dolphins preseason until he suffered a nasty injury. Excited to see what he can do. And then Damian Willis, another guy that I believe he was a draft pick, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I believe he was one of our. Yes, he was a Sea Dragon. He was a Sea Dragon. So again, an XFL guy I do not have much information on. My bad, guys. Do your research on him. Tell me how good or whatever you think of him. So defense, this one's kind of a crapshoot, guys. I tried my best with that 3-4 defense we run. Kind of odd to tell where the linebackers are going to fit in, where the defensive linemen are going to fit in, but love this group. Just a couple starters. Jordan Williams, a guy returning from last year, came on the scene hot. Jordan Ferguson, he got a shot with the Seahawks in training camp and in preseason, did good there. He came in late in the season and just absolutely was wrecking shop. A couple new names like Vontae Diggs. Super excited about Diggs. Came over from the Breakers there. A couple new DBs like DJ Daniel, an absolute stud from the Generals, all USFL. Will Likely, this is a guy I'm very, very excited about. He was with the Gamblers season 1 of the USFL. Played great for them, part of that G code defense that really carried the Gamblers. Every win that the Gamblers had in season 1 could be directly attributed to how good their defense played. It was absolutely stout. And then you had Will Likely on there cleaning stuff up, had the picks, had the pick sixes, just an unbelievable guy to watch play. He played in the XFL last year. He went from the Houston Gamblers in the USFL, played for the Houston Roughnecks in the XFL. Now he's playing for us with the Memphis Showboats. Will Likely's a fun guy to have, man. Very awesome to see him coming back to the good guys. So I think that's all I got for you guys, man. It's been a fun episode. I hope you enjoyed the little transitions here. I'm gonna try to up my game a little bit. We're all trying to up our game here at United Football Media. We're cracking that sweet little subscriber thing. We're getting going, guys. We're doing this for you, and we wouldn't be here without you guys. So deeply appreciate you guys always coming through, always supporting, always watching. Drop a comment below who your favorite draft pick was, what you're excited to see. I know a lot of people are talking about the schedule right now. I'm getting questions every single day about the schedule. Brandon, do you know the schedule? Boats, do you know the schedule? Cap, do you know the schedule? I promise you guys, if I knew anything about the schedule, I would tell you. The second I learn something about the schedule, you guys will know something about the schedule, whether it's released on Twitter and then I feed it over to the Yacht Club Facebook with Bill, whatever. As soon as I know, you guys will know. What I do know is what I've heard. Now, I've heard for the Showboats in particular, week 1, listen, this is a rumor. Everything's fluid. Nothing's set in stone until the schedule comes out and is set in stone. So take this for what it's worth. The rumblings are that the Memphis Showboats will be taking on the DC Defenders week 1. Pretty interesting matchup there. It kind of makes sense. I believe we're going for a USFL versus XFL week 1. Because we've got the Stallions, the USFL champions, taking on the Renegades, the XFL champions, to kick this whole UFL season off. So why not just lean into the whole USFL XFL rivalry week 1? Boats versus DC. You can have the Panthers versus the the Panthers versus the Brahmas, maybe, or the Battlehawks. I think Battlehawks would probably be good, especially if they're playing in St. Louis. Michigan and St. Louis don't seem like that far away. I'm not a Google Maps geography guy, so don't kill me if it's not that far away or if it is that far away. But that's just one of the rumors I've heard. Showboats versus DC week 1. Could come true, could not, but it feels like we will definitely be playing some XFL team week 1. So again, man, appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming out. The ticker's down there. Get your Yacht Club merch, vintagevarsity901.com. Hit up my boy Bill Alexander, Memphis Showboats Yacht Club on Facebook. And as always, guys, go boats.